Hello everyone, welcome back to Rewired with your host Khadija Farosh. For those of you just joining us, this podcast is all about differentiating between fact and fiction through exploring our teenage minds and psychology. Now I don't want to spoil the rest of the episode, so I want you all to sit back, relax, and enjoy. I'm the firstborn child, oldest sibling to a younger sister. What does that make you think my personality is like? What traits come to mind when you hear oldest sibling? What about middle children, youngest, only children? Well, today I'm going to be diving into a topic that's close to many of us, especially those of us with siblings. Today I'm going to be discussing birth order, more specifically whether birth order psychologically shapes the personalities of oldest children, or if that's just a big myth seen all around pop psychology today. So, as we've established, this episode I'll be discussing the psychology surrounding birth order, more specifically the impact of being a firstborn on your personality. Now, I just want to let you guys know, this episode is the first of a 4-episode mini-series, the first one ever done at Rewired. For this mini-series, I wanted to keep each episode short, sweet, and concise. This means I probably won't be going into too much detail, but I have linked the papers, concepts, and themes I've discussed down below if you guys want to do some deeper research. And feel free to take a listen to the next 3 mini-episodes after this one, where I'll be talking about middle, youngest, and only children. So without further ado, let's get started with eldest children. Birth order is almost universally thought to determine how intelligent, nice, responsible, sociable, or open to new experiences we are, essentially our personalities, especially in pop psychology. This theme has been widely discussed amongst the general public outside of the scientific community, and for this reason, a lot of one-size-fits-all stereotypes have been established about each category in the birth order. So, oldest children are often stereotyped as perfectionists, serious, dominant. People may see middle children to be neglected or overlooked, youngest children outgoing or attention-seeking, and only children as socially inflexible or spoiled. It's important to remember that these stereotypes are often oversimplified and don't accurately reflect the diverse range of personalities within each birth order category. Individual experiences, parenting styles, and cultural factors play significant roles in shaping personality development. Now, I wanted to ask you, are these stereotypes true or anywhere near the truth? And does birth order even minorly affect personality in general? Well, 2 major papers have emerged within this subfield of psychology, which I will link below, to show that birth order has little to no substantive effect on personality. The first, titled The Association of Birth Order with Personality and Intelligence in a Representative Sample of U.S. High School Students, tested a huge sample to analyze the relation between birth order and personality in a between-family design, and the average effect was equal to a correlation of 0.02. Just to clarify, a between-family study design compares the personality traits of unrelated people who have different birth ranks. In the second paper, titled Examining the Effects of Birth Order on Personality, they investigated the link between birth order and personality in 3 large samples from Great Britain, the United States, and Germany, using both between and within family designs. To clarify again, within family designs examine personality ratings from sibling pairs, parents, peers, so people who have relation to each other in a way, in contrast to the between family design, which compares the traits of unrelated people. So that's between family designs and within family designs. The results of this test showed that birth order had no effect on all aspects of personality, with the exception of intelligence and self-reported intellect. When it came to intelligence, firstborns were recorded to have slightly higher scores. And no, guys, I promise I'm not just saying that because I'm a firstborn. So when looking at these two studies, it can be said that birth order has little to no substantive relation to personality trait development, and only a minor relation to the development of your intelligence. So it's a win for the eldest children. So now that we have this established, for the rest of today's episode, I wanted to break down each of the established stereotypes made about eldest children. I plan to discuss some myths and the reason why they may have been made. There won't technically be any debunking involved, rather just diving deeper into the thought process of those who made them, where they came from, and what may have spurred them, and of course what the typical personality of an oldest child could look like. So, as I previously stated, oldest children are always portrayed to be hyper-responsible, serious, perfectionists, the list goes on. But it's important to note that personality is not rigid. Not every oldest sibling has the same personality, and this applies to every single sibling category. And as we previously established, biologically, birth order has little to no substantive impact on personality. So why are these stereotypes established? Well, my key reason is environment. Have you guys ever heard of the nature versus nurture scientific debate? In simple terms, nature refers to the biological or genetic predispositions that impact the traits of a person physically, emotionally, intellectually, etc. But nature describes the influence of learning and your environment on the development of these traits, like parenting styles, personal traumas and experiences, cultural and ethnic factors, and more. And when it comes to birth order and the establishment of these stereotypes, nurture plays a significant role. There are 3 or 4 main environmental factors which influence the origin of these stereotypes, and the main ones I'll be discussing are parental expectations, sibling dynamics, and cultural influences. I want to preface this by saying that these characteristics and circumstances I will be discussing often occur in the typical atomic family, where there are even gaps between sibling ages, 2 present parents, and they're all living in the same household. There are some factors which may skew the appearance of these characteristics, like large gaps between sibling ages, parental involvement, etc. So I want you guys to keep that in mind for the rest of this episode. Eldest children are born into a family of younger siblings, whether this be 1, 2, 3, or more. You're essentially the trailblazer, the guinea pig, or the unofficial leader of the family, and this can shape your personality in interesting ways. You might be more responsible and organized, always striving to do your best. You may also be a natural leader, taking charge and guiding your younger siblings. And parental expectations play a huge role in this. According to the National Institute of Health's paper, the relationship between parental role expectations and sibling jealousy, many parents naturally believe that the older child should take on more responsibilities. They should be more mature, set a good example, and be able to play the role of a model for their following siblings. It's also been concluded in research study Games Parents and Adolescents Play of the Economic Journal that parents are more likely to withdraw financial support from older siblings which, let's say, rebel, per se, than their younger brothers and sisters who wind up in the same or similar situations. The study presents analysis that supports such unequal treatment of children because of more severe discipline of older children. So this tends to be a tactic or parenting strategy used to impose discipline by parents, where they have an incentive to punish their firstborn child more if that child engages in risky behavior in order to deter or prevent such behavior by or from their younger siblings. So this essentially implies that oldest children are more susceptible to frequent punishment and more severe discipline to show to the younger siblings what consequences they would have to undergo if they were to engage in the same risky behavior as their older siblings. These parental expectations and techniques tie in well with the cultural influences that affect this image established about oldest children. Multiple cultures place a strong emphasis on the eldest child being a role model, reinforcing these stereotypes in their daily lives. For example, many East Asian cultures influenced by Confucianism, which is an ancient Chinese belief system, such as China, Korea, and Japan, often emphasize a concept called filial piety, which essentially means respect for elders, and the importance of the eldest child leading by example. Even in many Latin American cultures, the eldest child is often seen as the protector of the family and is expected to take on significant responsibilities, and it's often seen as an honor to be the eldest child in these cultures. This also applies to a lot of South Asian cultures, as in many South Asian households, the eldest daughter is held responsible for playing the role of the mother and nurturing her younger siblings, taking care of household responsibilities, and resuming her duties to be accepted as a giving and perfect child. This is similarly seen in Middle Eastern cultures with the eldest daughters, as they're expected to take the domestic role. Additionally, the eldest son is seen as a second father, per se. He's taught to support his younger siblings with physical and social support. So because of these factors being culture, family dynamic, parental involvement, etc., firstborns tend to be reliable, structured, organized, cautious, potentially controlling, and high achievers. This is kind of a group of a lot of common characteristics seen amongst the average eldest sibling. So because of these predetermined environmental impacts, these parenting techniques, ancestral customs, cultural factors, these common stereotypes of overly independent, hyper-perfectionist eldest siblings have been established. Environment, surroundings, life experiences, genetics, and where eldest children are placed in society are the key factors that play into these psychological expectations that are established within their minds, as well as the minds of others. Now, as we reach the end of this episode, and at the end of each episode of this mini-series, I wanted to introduce a segment where I highlight the emotional impacts of these characteristics on each birth category, to give you guys some advice on how to lead a better life for your mental health and well-beings. So the pressure to be the perfect older sibling can sometimes lead to higher levels of stress and perfectionism. You might feel the need to be always right or to excel in everything that you do. And this can be both a blessing and a curse, speaking from personal experience, as it can drive you to achieve great things, but it can also lead to feelings of burnout or exhaustion, inadequacy. My advice for all my fellow eldest children is to strive for a healthy balance between being responsible and enjoying your childhood and lives. While these stereotypes might offer some insights into your personality, it's important to avoid generalizations. And every individual is unique, and your experiences as an eldest child will shape your personality in your own way. So I don't want you guys to get too caught up in the labels and expectations, but instead focus on finding a healthy balance between responsibility, leadership, and self-care and mental health. Don't be afraid to ask for help or take breaks when you need them. It's also important to accept that you won't always succeed in every single situation. Everybody makes mistakes, and it's okay to learn from them. I want you guys to remember that the most important thing is to be true to yourself and to strive for your own happiness. You're not just the example your younger siblings should follow, and developing interests, hobbies, and allowing yourself to enjoy your time is extremely important. Alright, that's a wrap for today's episode. If you want to keep the conversation going, you can find me on Instagram and YouTube at OfficialRewired. My email is khadija.farrash@gmail.com if you'd like to contact me there. That's khadija.farrash@gmail.com. Or if you're feeling extra chatty, join our community Discord where you can hang out and discuss this and upcoming episodes, have access to early snippets and announcements, and a couple more special perks. You can find all the links to my socials in the show notes below and in the Linktree in my description. Don't forget to drop a comment, question, feedback, or anything you'd like to let me know of down below if you're feeling extra generous, and if you really enjoyed, a 5-star rating on Spotify or a like and subscribe on YouTube would mean the world. I can't wait to chat with you again soon, and see you in the next episode.